This is K.M. Wyland, and you're listening to the 112th episode of the Wordplay Podcast. It's a double whammy celebration this week. To begin with, I typed the end on the first draft of The Deepest Breath. At this point, before my first read-through of the finished manuscript, I'm thinking I'm very pleased with how the story turned out. It was a tricky story to write in many ways, a story much darker than anything I've written previously, and it offered a host of new challenges. But my gut feeling is that the plot and characters have pulled together in a cohesive whole. I'm itching to print it out and read it straight through, but for now I have to wait for the come rain, come sleet UPS guy to deliver new toner for the printer. This week also saw the completion of final edits on outlining your novel, Map Your Way to Success. The book, which has much to offer even writers who don't want to outline, will be available for purchase September 26th. Of course, book release time means it's also time for contests, drawings, and giveaways. Throughout September, Wordplay will be hosting some fabulous prize drawings and deals, so be sure to swing by from time to time. I'll keep you posted on the details as we get closer to the party. Why writers should let readers fill in the blanks. The latest post in the video series on my blog shows how Ralph Ellison's classic, Invisible Man, was able to draw readers into active partnership with the author, rather than just allowing them to be passive observers. You can watch the video on my blog at wordplay-kmwyland, that's weiland.blogspot.com. New videos are posted every Wednesday. Meanwhile, enjoy this week's podcast. Why your protagonist and antagonist should be stuck like glue. When you think of the relationship between your hero and his antagonist, the first thing to pop to mind usually isn't their being bonded at the hip. They're different from one another. They don't want to stick together. They want to get as far away from one another as possible. That's what creates the conflict. True enough, but in realizing these important elements in the protag-antag relationship, don't overlook that the grease in the wheels, the flour in the strudel, the spit in the spitwad, is glue. Something has to be keeping your hero locked in his conflict with the antagonist, and vice versa. Otherwise, why doesn't one or the other of them just walk away? In his book Revision and Self-Editing, legal suspense author James Scott Bell explains, a major area to explore is adhesive. What is it that bonds the lead and the opposition together? If this adhesive isn't strong enough, the readers will wonder why the plot should continue at all. Let's take a gander at 7 possible adhesives you can use to keep your protagonist and his antagonist stuck like glue. 1. Duty or obligation. In China Miéville's steampunk fantasy, Perdido Street Station, the main character, Isaac Dandurker Nebulan, can't walk away from his antagonists, the monstrous slake moths, because he was the one responsible for loosing them on the city. 2. Hatred or vengeance. In my medieval epic, Behold the Dawn, the antagonist, Gethin the Baptist, can't walk away from the protagonist, Marcus Annan, because he needs Annan to help him find and punish the men responsible for torturing him years ago. 3. Survival. In Richard Connell's short story, The Most Dangerous Game, the protagonist, Sanger Rainsford, is forced to hunt down and kill his deranged antagonist, a Russian aristocrat, before the aristocrat kills him. 4. Love. In my historical western, A Man Called Outlaw, the protagonist, Shane Lassiter, caught between 2 opposing antagonistic forces, his adopted father and the woman he loves, can't walk away from either because of his complicated feelings for them. 5. Enjoyment or obsession. In Christopher Nolan's movie The Dark Knight, the demented Joker pursues Batman out of obsessive enjoyment of their cat-and-mouse game. This particular adhesive is also frequently used in romance stories, in which the protagonists are also the antagonists for much of the story. Think Pride and Prejudice. 6. Greed. In Sam Peckinpah's movie The Getaway, bank robber Rhodey Butler, one of many antagonists, pursues his partners, protagonists Doc and Carol McCoy, because he wants the stolen money for himself. 7. Pride. In William Faulkner's Flags in the Dust, Miss Jenny and old Bayard Sartoris take too much pride in the family name to turn away young Bayard, despite his drunken, destructive tendencies. Take a look at your story. Could your protagonist and antagonist walk away right now without any repercussions? If so, it's time to go superglue shopping. Thank you for listening to the Wordplay Podcast. To read a transcript of this episode, Visit me on the web at wordplay-kmwyland, that's weiland.blogspot.com, and be sure to listen again next week.